Steph Bondy, I know you have articles to write for the Post about what we watched Game 4, but let me get your thoughts on it, man. Did the Knicks just completely snatch the Celtics aura, as the kids call it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was unfortunately you hate to see it. It was more than just smashing an aura. It was Jason Tatum smashing his something, and we're waiting to hear exactly what that is. I tore my Achilles. I looked almost exactly the way he did, so I fear that. We have to wait and see. Obviously, he's a tremendous player. He's been their best player in the series. He's an NBA champion. So yeah, I mean that's the big development in terms of what's going to happen today is what's going to go down with those MRI results. But for the from the Knicks perspective, it was just flabbergasting and amazing for I'm sure Knicks fans watching that were just going crazy because you go into a game where first of all you go into a series where nobody gives you a chance. I had them losing in five, my bad. And then they come off a game three where they just got the doors blown off
Yeah.
in Madison Square Garden. And so, it was back to the Celtics are going to end up pulling out this series because they're a better team. And then the Knicks just did what Knicks do, what Jalen Brunson does. And now, apparently, what Mikal Bridges does. Because, as we were talking before this started airing, there was very little about Mikal Bridges' regular season that made you think he'd be capable of doing the stuff that he's doing in the playoffs. But he's pulling through, and he's been a huge part of what they're doing. And certainly in the fourth quarter last night, when Jalen Brunson was taking his rest, it was the Mikal Bridges time, and he did his thing. So, it was a group effort, but, Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges were the two heroes of last night.
Yeah, somewhere Leon Rose was sitting there smoking a cigar. Like I told y'all to trust the process. This
Yeah.
man, like he just, I mean, his aura right now has to be on 100. I know they have to close this thing out, but the fact that, like we were just talking off camera, just that Mikal Bridges, nothing about his regular season said or showed that he was going to step up in these big moments. Not only on the offensive side, of which we've kind of seen this resurgence in his offense, but defensively, getting stop after stop. Bonnie, I want to ask you because this game 5 could be crucial. It doesn't look like the Celtics are going to have Jason Tatum. Jalen Brunson looked like he's a little banged up, nicked up. OG had to go back to
Mhm.
the locker room, but he came back out and was able to return to the court and play. How important is it for them, for the Knicks, to wrap up this series in Game 5 to get some guys healthy and rested for the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty important. Listen, it's not the do or die. Like, I'm not going to go crazy. Like, if they lose this game, then it's over. No. I mean, they obviously can come back home for game six and still wrap the series up. With that being said, the Celtics are still the Celtics. Even if you take Jason Tatum out of the equation, this is a stacked team. I mean, you see Derek White can take over. A guy like Derek White can take over at any moment.
Yeah.
Kristaps Porzingis has obviously not been at his best. He can be a lot better. Jalen Brown can be a lot better. Peyton Pritchard is proving to be a handful for the Knicks. So, this is still a very dangerous and live opponent. I mean, to think that the Knicks have wrapped this up totally is kind of silly. They're obviously in a great position. They are obviously in the you know in the they have the advantage. So I would say that it's important to wrap this up simply to get rid of the Celtics. There's going to be some time before the Eastern Conference Finals start, regardless. And it looks like it's might be the Pacers. I would say the Knicks, if they are matched up against the Pacers, that they're the favorites in that series. And that's pretty crazy to think about, considering where these playoffs started and the prospects of playing the Celtics, who the Knicks, basically couldn't hang on the same court with them for most of the regular season, or the Cavaliers, and the same thing there. They couldn't hang with either of those teams in the regular season. So the idea that the Knicks can get to an NBA Finals, it's quite a story, and it's pretty remarkable how they've been able to do it. So yes, it is important to get rid of the Celtics. I don't think that resting though is something that I'm too concerned about. It looks like Jalen Brunson's ankle has gotten better since that opening round series against the Pistons, and that's very important.
I commend you for saying my bad. You said you had the Celtics in 6. Doesn't look like it's going to go down that
Celtics in
way.
five, even
Celtics in
worse, man.
5, even. So
Even worse.
I'm going to have
Even worse.
my bad moment, and I'm going to say my bad to Tom Thibodeau because I have been very critical throughout the regular season on how much the starters were playing. And remember, I even asked you at the beginning of the season, like, what, you don't think the starters are playing too much? This dude has been in his bag when it comes to the X's and O's and putting this team in position to not only to make stops in the second half, but to hit shots. Is it safe to say that Tom Thibodeau has outcoached Joe Mazzulla in this series?
I mean, yeah, obviously he has the less talented roster and he's winning 3-1. Now, where the minutes police. Now, one thing I'm not going to say my bad about because I was correct about this one is killing the minutes police for getting on Tom Thibodeau over and over and over again, worrying about when is Tyler Kolek going to play, when is Pacome Dadier going to play. No, these guys aren't going to play in the playoffs. And guess who has the healthiest roster in the NBA playoffs? The guy who is getting killed for playing all those minutes. So the minutes police probably should shut up now because the Knicks have the healthiest team. I mean, they're going up against the Celtics roster that doesn't have Hauser for most of this series. Kristaps Porzingis has been ill, and now Jason Tatum isn't going to play. And then the Cleveland Cavaliers, the #1 seed, who, I love Kenny Atkinson. I think he's a great coach, but he was really monitoring all their minutes, not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs, and all those guys are banged up. The Knicks are 100% healthy right now. No players on the injury report. That is a remarkable thing in today's NBA. And so credit Tom Thibodeau for, preparing these guys for that. His mantra is prepare your body for how many minutes you want to play. And that's kind of how it's played out here. He trained those guys to be playing 40-plus minutes, and that's what they're doing in the playoffs, and they're doing it while 100% healthy.
As police commissioner for the Minutes Police, I am going to mute myself, shut up, and I'm going to retire from the police force because Steph Bondy says so. Safe travels up to Boston, man. Appreciate you hopping on with us.
All right, man.